It was supposed to be just another ordinary day at the grocery store, nothing out of the usual. But fate had other plans. When an elderly woman stood at the checkout counter, fumbling through her purse with a look of deep concern, the young cashier found himself at a crossroads. In that moment, he had a choice to make, a choice that, unknown to him, would set into motion a series of events far greater than he could ever imagine. A simple act of kindness, something he barely thought twice about, would lead to consequences that no one in town saw coming. And just a week later, what unfolded left everyone utterly speechless. Stay with us for an extraordinary story of generosity, fate, and a shocking twist that changed everything. Daniel, a 22-year-old cashier at a small-town grocery store, lived a simple life. He wasn't wealthy, he wasn't famous, he was just a hard-working young man trying to make ends meet. Every day, he stood behind the counter, scanning groceries, greeting customers with a polite smile, and putting in long hours to save up for college. His days were predictable, uneventful, until one particular afternoon when something happened that would alter his life forever. Margaret, an elderly woman, approached the register with a gentle smile. Her basket held only the necessities, some bread, a carton of milk, a few fresh vegetables, and a couple of cans of soup. Nothing extravagant, just the basics. As Daniel scanned the items, she stood patiently, her smile unwavering. But then, when it was time to pay, her expression changed. Her hands, slightly trembling, reached into her purse. She rummaged through it with growing distress, her breathing quickening. A shadow of embarrassment crossed her face, and her cheeks flushed red. "Oh, dear, I must have left my wallet at home," she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. The customers in line behind her sighed loudly, shifting impatiently, their frustration evident. The manager, standing nearby, shot Daniel a glance that spoke volumes. "Hurry up and move the line along." Margaret's eyes flickered with worry as she looked up at Daniel. "I can put some things back, I don't want to hold everyone up," she offered hesitantly, reaching for her groceries. But before she could start removing items, Daniel made a decision in an instant. Without hesitation, without waiting for anyone's approval, he reached into his pocket, pulled out his own wallet, and swiped his card to pay for her groceries. Margaret gasped, her eyes widening in shock. "Young man, you don't have to do that," she protested, her voice shaking with emotion. But Daniel simply shrugged and offered her a warm smile. "It's all right, ma'am. Just promise me you'll have a great day." For a moment, Margaret stood frozen, overwhelmed by his kindness. Then, her eyes glistened with unshed tears as she reached out and gently squeezed his hand. "You are a blessing," she whispered, her voice thick with gratitude. And with that, she picked up her groceries and slowly walked out of the store. Daniel thought nothing more of it. It was just a small good deed, a moment of kindness he hadn't even considered remarkable. But what he didn't know, what he couldn't have possibly known, was that this simple act had set something incredible in motion. A week passed, and Margaret's face had become just another fleeting memory in Daniel's mind. But then, something unexpected happened. That morning, as he worked a shift, a sleek black luxury car pulled into the grocery store's parking lot. It wasn't the kind of car people in their small town usually drove. Heads turned, whispers spread. From the passenger seat, a distinguished-looking man in a tailored suit stepped out, followed closely by none other than Margaret. But this time, she seemed different. There was a newfound confidence in the way she carried herself, an aura of quiet authority. She no longer looked like the frail old woman from the checkout line. She looked important. The store manager, noticing the unusual scene, hurried to greet them, his expression a mixture of surprise and nervousness. "Mrs. Sinclair? What a surprise!" he exclaimed. Daniel, still at his register, watched in stunned silence as Margaret walked straight toward him. His heart pounded. Why was she here? What was happening? "Daniel," she said warmly, stopping in front of him. "I've been looking for you." Daniel swallowed hard. "And me?" he stammered, taken aback. She nodded and reached into her purse. With careful precision, she pulled out a neatly folded document and held it out to him. "There's something you need to know," she said, taking a deep breath before continuing. "You didn't realize at the time, but I'm not just an old woman struggling to buy groceries. My full name is Margaret Sinclair, and I own this grocery chain." The words hit Daniel like a thunderclap. His breath caught in his throat. The entire store fell into a stunned silence. Even the manager, always composed, looked completely dumbfounded. "Wait, what?" Daniel managed to choke out. Margaret smiled knowingly. "I spent my life building this business from the ground up, but as time passed, I started to wonder, do the people working here still carry the kindness that helped me start it all? So, I decided to see for myself." Daniel's hands shook as realization dawned on him. You were testing us?" he whispered, still struggling to process everything. Margaret chuckled softly. "In a way. But you did something no one else did, Daniel. You saw someone in need, and instead of ignoring it, instead of looking the other way, you chose kindness. That's a rare thing these days." She extended the document toward him. "And that's why," she continued, her voice warm, "I'd like to offer you a full scholarship to college. Your generosity changed my day, so now I want to change your life." Gasps rippled through the store. The cashiers, the customers, even the manager, all of them stood frozen in shock. Daniel's hands trembled as he took the paper. His vision blurred as he read the words. "A scholarship," he whispered, hardly believing what he was seeing. Margaret nodded. "Consider it an investment in someone who deserves it." Daniel never could have imagined that one small act of kindness would alter the course of his life so dramatically. But that's the magic of kindness. It has a way of coming back to you in the most unexpected, extraordinary ways. So the next time you see someone in need, take a moment to ask yourself, what would you do? Because you never know, a single gesture of goodwill might just lead to something incredible. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more unbelievable real-life stories. See you in the next one.